10 coworkers walked into their office on a Friday evening. The doors locked behind them at 6 p.m. sharp. Halversen Group, a mid-sized claims processing firm, made them a simple offer: clear 400 stalled insurance claims, a backlog nobody in the building wanted to touch, by Monday at 8 a.m., and split $30,000 10 ways, no questions asked. Nobody asked why the office's monitoring software needed a brand new signature first, and by Sunday night, that one skipped question would cost some of them their jobs and quietly save one of them his. Here's the setup. The building sat downtown. Badge access cut off from Friday 6 p.m. to Monday 8 a.m. officially for weekend security protocol. Every employee already used a productivity dashboard called Optiv, the kind that tracks keystrokes and idle minutes, a background annoyance nobody thought twice about anymore. Buried in paragraph 6 of a 2-page sprint participation waiver was one new line, added just for this weekend. All decisions, chats, and activity logged during the sprint could be used for internal process improvement and product development initiatives. 10 people signed it without reading past the $sign. Catering rolled in. Pizza, energy drinks, a whiteboard with a countdown clock bolted to the wall. It looked like a party. Does a locked building with a countdown clock sound like a party to you? The cast, as always, was a lot. There was Denise, an operations manager who arrived with a color-coded spreadsheet nobody asked for and immediately declared herself sprint lead. There was Robbie, a sales rep who treated the whole weekend as a personal leaderboard and started cherry-picking the easiest claims within the first hour to pad his numbers. There was Marcus, quiet, steady, the guy everyone assumed was coasting because he never raised his voice, and who was in fact doing more real work than anyone in the building. There was Carla, marketing, who had spent 3 years nursing a grudge against Denise over a promotion that went sideways, and treated this weekend as unfinished business. There was Theo from IT, who mostly kept to himself and watched the Optiv dashboard more closely than his own workload. There was Faye, the newest hire, eager to prove herself, working like her job depended on it, which it did, though not the way she thought. There was Petey, the office's designated slacker, who filed his first claim around hour 11 and treated the rest as a very long nap with snacks. There was Grant, 61, 3 restructurings deep in his career, who watched everything with the flat calm of a man who'd seen this movie before. There was Nadia, a data analyst nobody outside her own department could name, who understood exactly how the claims system worked under the hood and quietly answered everyone's questions all weekend without once raising her hand for credit. And there was Yolanda from HR, officially there to support the team, unofficially taking notes nobody could quite see the point of. Friday night was a honeymoon. Everyone laughed about the countdown clock. Somebody put on music. By hour 4, the honeymoon was over because 400 claims is a lot of claims, and pizza only fuels a person so far. Denise's spreadsheet went from helpful to law by Saturday morning, with shift blocks, mandatory check-ins, and a red column for anyone falling behind. Nobody elected her. She just had a laptop and the confidence of someone who'd never lost an argument about deadlines, and that turned out to be plenty. By Saturday afternoon, the office had quietly split in two. Denise's camp followed the spreadsheet like scripture. Robbie's camp followed Robbie, who kept insisting speed mattered more than accuracy and kept steering himself toward the simplest files. Carla used the chaos to needle Denise about the old promotion in front of everyone, twice, loudly. And then came the discovery that turned the whole floor against Robbie for an hour. Someone noticed his claim count was high, his flagged for review count was 0, and every single file he'd touched happened to be the easiest one on the list. An impromptu tribunal broke out in the break room. Denise presided like a judge. Grant, dry as ever, suggested they just dock his share of the bonus and move on, and everyone agreed a little too fast. Mostly because nobody wanted to keep standing around arguing when there were still 300 claims left. Through all of it, Theo barely spoke. He'd noticed something Saturday morning and hadn't said anything yet, mostly because it sounded paranoid out loud. Optiv wasn't just logging keystrokes this weekend. It was logging which claims each person hesitated on, how long they took to override a flagged file, what they typed into the shared chat while debating a judgment call, detail no normal QA pass had ever needed before. He mentioned it to Faye, half joking. She laughed it off and kept working because she genuinely wanted this bonus more than anyone in the building. Here's the turn. Sunday morning, Theo finally said it out loud to the group, and half of them didn't believe him until Yolanda let something slip. She wasn't reporting to their VP at all. Her check-ins all weekend had been going to a team called Continuity, a name nobody in the room recognized, folded quietly into the product division 2 years earlier. Pause here and guess what a product division wants with 400 messy insurance claims and 10 people's raw decision-making recorded in real time on a weekend with nobody around to make them play it safe. It clicked fast once it clicked. A normal week of claims work was too clean to be useful. People already knew Optiv was watching, so they played it careful, predictable, boring. But lock 10 people in a building, dangle real money, strip away the usual caution, and you get something else entirely. Fast, high pressure, unfiltered human judgment on hundreds of messy edge cases, generated for free and signed away in paragraph 6. Continuity wasn't measuring who deserved the bonus. Continuity was an AI model that had spent 2 years failing to learn how humans actually handle a stalled claim. And this weekend was the cleanest training data it had ever gotten. The room went quiet in a way it hadn't all weekend. Some people wanted to walk out right there, waiver or no waiver, bonus or no bonus. Others, Denise loudest among them, argued they'd come this far and should finish anyway. Not out of loyalty exactly. More because nobody wanted to be the one who worked 30 hours for nothing. In the end, they finished the backlog together around 6 Sunday evening, less out of trust in the company and more out of stubbornness toward each other. Nobody wanted to be the reason the group missed the bonus, even the ones who now understood exactly what the bonus had actually paid for. Monday morning came fast. The bonus posted $30,000 10 ways, exactly as promised. And 2 hours later, an email went out announcing a departmental restructuring, effective immediately, citing efficiency gains from workflow automation. 6 of the 10 coworkers were let go that day. Denise, whose spreadsheet had run the weekend like clockwork. Robbie, whose easy claim shortcuts turned out to be exactly the pattern matching a machine could copy in seconds. Carla and Faye, who had both worked themselves ragged trying to prove they belonged. Grant, who'd seen 3 restructurings and had just quietly lived through his 4th. And Yolanda, whose entire job had been reporting human behavior upward. A task continuity, it turned out, could now do for itself. Here's the twist on top nobody saw coming, least of all the people it happened to. Marcus, Theo, and Nadia stayed on, not as a reward, but because continuity still couldn't handle the genuinely weird cases on its own. The exact judgment calls the 3 of them had quietly made, over and over, all weekend, and it needed real humans to keep untangling those by hand indefinitely. And Petey, who had filed exactly 6 claims in 60 hours and spent most of the weekend somewhere between the break room and a very long nap, kept his job too, not for loyalty and not for charm. A machine can't learn a pattern from someone who barely made one. Petey's laziness had generated nothing worth stealing, and for the first time in his career, doing almost nothing was the smartest move in the building. 10 coworkers walked into that office, chasing a $30,000 bonus, locked in for a weekend they thought was about clearing a backlog. They walked out having built, line by careful line, the exact reason 6 of them didn't have jobs by Monday afternoon, and having proven completely by accident, that sometimes the safest place in the whole building is the one person who never did the work at all.